Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday meditation gathering. I'm so glad you're all here to share this time together. This week, we'll have Terry Doyle lead us in meditation, and then we'll have 20 minutes of silence. And after that, we'll open it up for sharing, and we end at 10:45. Over to you, Terry.
Thanks, Dan. Good morning, everybody. Do you know that there's so much doom and gloom out there that it was just a joy to come onto into this group this morning and just feel the atmosphere of the people within the group, you know, all smiling and kind of without, there was no sense of people ignoring or being in denial of what's going on in the world. But I think I get a sense of a family each Wednesday morning, a gathering, coming together, and we mutually reinforce the message for each other. And I got a real tangible sense of that. So I'm very grateful to belong to this family. It's been a bit heavy the last couple of days for myself, work-wise. I'm working with quite a few people who are really, really struggling, and two of them got to the point of being suicidal. And it's difficult to kind of, or sometimes I feel it's a bit difficult for me to maintain my centeredness, but without meditation, I couldn't do the work that I do. And at the moment, I'm in self-isolation myself as well, because my phone pinged, you know, the track and trace thing. So I live on my own, and I've got a garden to walk around, and that's the exercise I'm getting at the moment. But I've only got 4 days left, so I'm coming through. Building on what Kate did last week, which I thought was wonderful, let me read you something from the course, because this is important for us all. Each hour that we take our rest today, a tired mind is suddenly made glad. A bird with broken wings begins to sing. A stream, long dry, begins to flow again. The world is born again each time you rest. And each time we remember that you come to bring the peace of God into the world, that it might take its rest along with you. So there's my answer, you know, the people who I'm working with, you know, broken, if you like, to the degree that they are, that it's incumbent upon myself and us all, if we are on a spiritual path, which we are, let's be honest, then every time we meditate, every time we find peace, inevitably we're helping everybody. And that's so comforting. So let's rest in God this morning. Let's embrace his invitation to come and see. Let's open our hearts and be willing to allow the Holy Spirit to fill our minds. I invite you now just to close your eyes, surrender into it. Come into this present moment. Just sense your beingness. And symbolically, just open your heart and your mind. Here I am, Lord. Here I am. We ask for rest today and quietness unshaken. We ask for peace and stillness in the midst of all the turmoil born of clashing dreams. We ask for safety and for happiness, although we seem to look on danger and on sorrow. And we have the thought that we'll answer our asking with what we request. I rest in God So, as we focus on the power of resting in God, He will carry us through storms and strife, past misery and pain, past loss and death, and onward to the certainty of God. There is no suffering He cannot heal, no problem He cannot solve, and no appearance that will turn to truth before the eyes of you who rest in God. So let's really surrender into that now and deeply submerge into this golden light. Let's be cocooned in this love and light of God. When our minds wander, which they will, let's come back and simply repeat those words. I rest in God. Here I am, Lord. I rest in God, in your love, in your peace.
Open your eyes slowly and come back into the room. We have approximately 17 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand or use the reactions button at the bottom of your screen, and I'll take you off of mute. And if you'd like to ask Terry a question or a comment with confidentiality, put your message in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and I'll read it out. Catherine?
It makes me laugh that I can hear you whispering, Teresa. We can all hear you. You might as well say it. Terry, thank you. I'm trying to find you. Thank you, Terry. I really needed that. It was beautiful. And you mentioned the word family. I can't say more because it's being recorded, but it was very timely for me. And the fact you say it when it's timely for me reinforces to me the connection. We're all connected to one voice. And when we're connected, we have the potential to say just what someone else needs to hear. So I really felt the power of that. And then when you said, you named that you yourself are having trouble at times returning to center, that just felt so real to me and powerful for me on two levels. One, because it felt like you were really bringing yourself here today, and that helped me bring myself. And also because I relate to the challenge of returning to center. For me, it's not lockdown, but it's other things. So it felt, yeah, you really brought me here, and that made me, I love that in that earthiness, in you bringing me here in my body as my flawed, imperfect self. You actually made me more open to receive from God just as I am sitting here today. So thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Lovely words. There's a Nirvana song, isn't there? Come as you are. Mm-hmm. And I think that the beauty of meditation and spirituality is that we don't have to be perfect. We just have to be authentic and real and true to ourselves and come as we are. However we might be feeling in any given moment, let's just come. Come, that's the invitation, isn't it? Come as you are, you know, and in that coming, in our willingness to come, we are somehow brought back into that love, into that fold, and enveloped, cocooned in it, and we can't go wrong. We simply cannot go wrong, and it doesn't cost us anything, you know. It's incredible. I know back in the 60s, apparently, when the Beatles went to Rishikesh and stuff with the Maharishi, he said, look, what you lot in the West don't understand is you got to charge a lot of money for this stuff. Or he's reputed to have said, I mean, I wasn't there, so I can't say for sure. But unless you pay for something, you won't value it, was what the gist of the message. Whereas I think that, and I understand that concept, I do understand it, but I do think that the people who are genuine seekers will value something freely given. And this is freely given every Wednesday morning, and it's wonderful. Good health, everybody.
Thank you.
Cheers. Linda, I'll take you off of mute. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you, Terry, for that.
Speak up, Linda. We can't hear you.
Right. Can you hear me now? I'm
Yeah,
on mute.
better. That's
yeah.
better.
Is that better?
That's better.
That was just wonderful. My lesson today was I could see peace instead of this. And when I woke up this morning, I was in this beautiful peace. I've had about 3 weeks of anger, and it's slowly dissipated this last few days. And this morning was so lovely. And your meditation, I was completely with God. I was able to go up this shaft, which I used to do when I was a little girl, when I was about 5, up this shaft. But it isn't a shaft so much now. It opens up and it extends, and I just feel blown away. I'm just everywhere. So I just can't explain how it is, but I just so thank you for your meditation. I'm blown away. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. It looks like you've just dropped some acid or something. You know, it's the bliss molecule, isn't it? You know, and when we experience it, it's difficult to put into words, but you come to know through experience, and we can all see it on your face. You know.
I am. I just am. I am. There
Yeah.
we go.
Absolutely.
Thank
Nice
you.
one, Linda.
Thank you. Anybody have a question or comment? Raise your hand. David? Unmute yourself, David.
Okay. Hi, Terry. Good morning. I suppose I should really ask you this question privately. Can you really sing Maybe I'm Amazed?
I've replied to you this morning saying that no, I'm learning to play the chords and the solo to it on the guitar, but I wouldn't attempt to sing it. No way.
Well, maybe we could do it together one day.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I won't say I'm amazed, because although we've never met, I really love you, Terry. I get such inspiration from hearing you. Also, this is lesson 34, isn't it? I could see peace instead of this. Yeah. I can replace my feelings of depression, anxiety, or worry, or my thoughts about this situation, personality, or event with peace. John was only just saying this to me yesterday, about how I can choose, and I'm constantly being reminded, because I wake up in the middle of the night with fearful thoughts, nasty images that I've seen on YouTube coming into my head, and then I have to somehow, by practice of this, it can switch, because something will say, hey, come on, you can choose peace, you rest in God. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is a lovely group, and I look forward to it on Wednesday mornings. Thank you for being here.
Cheers, David, and your contribution, your presence, you and Yoko, your presence, adds to the mix. And it's great, everyone, because David has started sending me some of his songs, and if you've not heard him sing, he's genuinely gifted. He really is. And I look forward to the day when we can all meet together, and David will sing us a song or two. It'll be great. It will be great. And listening to what you said there, David, last night, it was, I'd had a quite intense day, in as much as a friend of mine's husband had just died of COVID, and I was speaking to her on the phone, and there was another guy. There's one of the groups that I'm involved with. They've all got their addiction problems. Some of them are street homeless and what have you. And one of them was at the point of suicide yesterday. And it was quite an intense evening. And then There's a guy who I know who keeps putting posts on Facebook saying he won't be muzzled, he won't wear a mask, he doesn't believe in COVID. He's extreme views. He's a very radical, extreme, born-again Christian type. Says Jesus saves and all of this stuff, and no one will muzzle me, and wake up, you fools, and all of this rubbish. And I was, I had his image in my head as I was going to bed, and I thought, well, there's no way I'm going to fall asleep. If I stay in this mindset of allowing myself to be disturbed by this guy's kind of post, because I was thinking to myself, okay, how do I handle this situation? My own sister has got COVID at the moment, and she's very poorly. She's been in bed for 2 weeks, and she's as weak as a kitten, bless her, at this moment. And I don't mind admitting I find insensitive posts like that, and that might be judgmental, but I find it insensitive that people will. It's like people denying the Holocaust happened. But I've got to own my thoughts and feelings, and just like David reminded us there, and the reading that I chose this morning, every time I come back to peace, a tired mind is suddenly made glad. A bird with broken wings begins to sing. This is beautiful imagery. So I do what I always do. I say, look, please God, I'm struggling like hell here. Help me to find peace again. Come into my mind. And I just got this picture of this lad who's posted it. And please help me remember he's a child of God. Now, does that mean that I like what he's doing? No, I don't. And I don't think anybody should like what he's doing. But beyond his action, and like the Course reminds us, everything really, when we boil it down, is an act of love or a cry out for love. He's broken, he's damaged. I know he is. I know enough of his childhood to know some of the stuff that he went through. So he's coming from that place. And I will, when I see him, I'll have a private word with him, because if I don't have a private word with him, somebody's going to lamp him, because of what he's saying.
Okay, anybody have a question or a comment? Okay, Dennis, go ahead. You have to take yourself off of mute, Dennis.
That's it. Resting in God. Surely that's where we are all the time. And we don't really realise it. And the only time we want to go and rest in God normally is when the fears are about or whatever. Anyway, thank you, Terry. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. And you're another colourful character, as I would call, if you don't mind me saying. And there's something about the Captain Tom about you. And do you know, I was sat watching BBC News this morning. There was a tribute to him, and I was sat there blubbing like a baby, because didn't he just galvanize the nation last year, with his kind of stoicism and his kind of, well, if you're having a bad day today, tomorrow's another day, the sun will shine, and all of this kind of thing. And I really enjoyed what he contributed to all of our well-being last year. Good on him. May you rest in peace. And when I say, Dennis, that there's something about that Britishness that I get from yourself that I also see in Captain Tom. That's why I said that.
Well, actually, I ran away to see because life at home wasn't all that good when I was about 15 and a half, and I stayed for 5 years, and it was like a university education in many ways.
Yeah. Thanks, Dennis. You should write a book.
Take yourself off of mute.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Terry. I love listening to you. I love you too. It's a very interesting connection, and I love the piece that you chose. It's one of my all-time favourites from the book, because you remember somewhere in Bill Thetford said he thought he was being given music and poetry at one, and that passage about the bird with the broken wings and the stream, to me, just beautiful, absolutely beautiful, And yeah, I love listening to you, and I always feel that you have bishop energy. I don't know why I'm coming out with a bishop, but I see this tall. I've never met you either in person. We've had but there's a lovely piece about it, and I so agree with you about the family. I feel it's the family, and what makes a healthy family for me, anyway. The underpinning thing is trust. Is trust, and I think there's a great trust I feel within the group. A trust for, as you said, for people to come as they are, to be real. So it's beautiful. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I have to say, Dennis, I had to chuckle when you shared there, because that was exactly me. Things were not a bowl of cherries, and I was off at 17, and for me, you're right. I learned about life. All different people, different nationalities, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's lovely getting together. And also, Terry, that when you said about that guy that posted something, it reminded me of, I think it was Byron Katie said, there are only 3 businesses in the world: my business, your business, and God's business. And I have to remember that one when I start getting on my high horse.
Yeah.
So I always ask, I say, well, is that my business, their business, or God's business? And it always works. So thank you again. I love listening to you.
Thanks, John. And you and Annie look like Hollywood movie stars, all golden sand.
Oh dear, I wish.
Okay, so Terry, where were those readings from that you?
Oh yeah.
They're from my little black book, but
you don't have the place.
I don't have the references actually.
Don't worry. No worries.
I've not written them down anywhere, but
Jane says lesson 109.
Yeah, I rest in God.
I rest in God.
Yeah.
Okay,
sorry, Yoko says.
Okay, we've come to the top of our meditation hour. Thank you all for being here today. It was wonderful, Terry. So enjoyed it. Got so much out of it. Take yourself off of mute and show your appreciation to Terry.
Thanks,
Terry. Lovely.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Lovely.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Lovely to see everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.